Good morning. What's going on, folks? Welcome to another Monday morning, and we think many people are surprised that we are not like limit down right now after the the close on Friday was a pretty big rip to the downside. But usually it's funny how it happens. How like when everybody is talking about how the market's going to be down over the weekend, it turns out it's not. It almost invariably happens when everybody thinks that, for sure something's going to happen. And it's funny, you hear about that sometimes. You'll like go to the gas station or something and someone will say, oh, well, I heard the market's going up next week. As if everybody knows the market's going up next week, but it's not going to go up till then. And then, as if like the market is not influenced by everybody's opinions. Of course it is. So anytime that Joe Random of the public tells me which way the market is going to be next week, I tend to fade that. But anyway, so here we are. We are in unusual times with the market. The range overnight has been huge. How much stuff moves around. It tends to kind of settle down during the day, but overnight stuff has just been moving around a ton. Let's go to look at some charts and get into it a little bit here. And I noticed overnight gold really moving around. Anyways, this channel is usually about how to creative ways to short volatility, to sell the VIX, and to ride the decay of VIX ETPs like UVXY, VXX, etc. But over the last, few weeks, I personally have been not shorting volatility. I've actually been either slightly long or on the sidelines because stuff has just been acting really strange. And you can see the VIX down today. So far, the VIX down 0.36. However, it's been bouncing all over the place, and we have been in a state in the term structure of backwardation. Of course, that means that the futures are arranged in such a way where the front future is higher than the second future. Now, if we look quickly at the term structure here, it's a little wacky. It's been a little wacky lately, a lot. But currently we are in a state of what they would call backwardation between the front 2 months, which are the months which affect VIX ETPs. You can see October is higher than everything else. That due to the election in October. There's a lot going on this fall as far as the market's concerned because we have an election. Plus, we also have a possible second spike in this virus, which we haven't got through the first spike of yet. Anyway, so there's the VIX term structure, and we can see we are actually in backwardation of 0.73% right now, which the sum total of all of this is just there's no edge really to the upside or to the downside to do with the term structure right now. We're relatively flat is the takeaway here on that. And okay, so if we look at the trade overnight, we can see that we've basically rallied since the futures reopened at 6 p.m. yesterday. If we do go to a chart that's going to show all of that, here we can see the rally from a low of just basically when the futures reopened Sunday. We've been sort of rallying since then. However, when we compare this with Friday, we haven't undone. You could either say we haven't undone the damage of Friday or that we're just kind of in the same area, kind of stuck around 3,100. We're kind of in a, as Theotrade would say, a volatility box, and we're kind of stuck around this 3,100 area. You could also say that we keep bouncing off the 3,000 area. But either way, it's a frustrating situation for those of us who don't actually trade or don't have the ability to trade after hours. I guess I could get the ability to trade futures after hours, but I don't have that currently. And but we keep seeing these huge moves overnight, and then it kind of comes back after. This is a great example. On Friday, we had this big dip into the close, and now we've kind of come back. However, as you see, that's all we've done is sort of come back to where we were. We're not making new highs. We're kind of staying in a range. Let's back up the chart even further. So here's a 20-day chart, and we can see once again the story of what has happened in the last month. And just a very interesting chart just to look at, from sort of a historical perspective, where we have this big rally where we take out the all-time highs, not in the E-minis, but in the NASDAQ at least. We took out the all-time highs. And then sideways action now is it, I think it is certainly possible that we could just start moving up from here again, that we've been sort of consolidating. But in the meantime, certain indicators are telling us that there still might be problems right now. One of them just being the regular news flow, but the second one being the VIX is still very high. The VIX is much higher than it was before the big sell-off and the rally back. VIX still right around 34 right now, and the other indicator, the VVIX, which represents options, implied volatility in VIX options, is quite high still. 138 is quite high. We usually don't look at exactly what the range is, or we don't have a specific number that says that's high or that's low, but we kind of look at the trend. I guess there's this predisposition to say, well, over 100 is somehow significant. Of course, the only reason 100 is significant is because humans were born with 10 fingers, and thus we have a metric or a system of counting that's based on tens. If humans were born with 12 fingers, then the number of 120 would be more significant in VVIX. So, I think it's kind of silly to pick a specific number, but we are certainly elevated right now from where we've been historically. If we look back 3 years, we can see, yes, we're pretty high in the VVIX right now compared with historically. And if we look at the similar thing for the VIX, same thing, pretty high right now. And it looks like we've come down off this ramp that we were going down from that 85. It looks like we've come off the ramp. We had another mini spike, and we'll see where we go from here. But it's the fact that the VIX is this high indicates that there's strange things going on in the market. We also had a pretty big range in gold last night. Gold, usually when the market is up, gold is not up, right? The typical correlation is when the market goes down, gold goes up, and when the market goes up, gold goes down. Well, right now we've got gold up, market up. It's another little flag for you there to say, maybe something's up. And we've had this feeling for a couple weeks that maybe something's up. And so this is a lot of the reason why I've stopped with the shorting volatility thing for a while. Now, I still believe everything that I've talked about in the past, and I think that if you were to put a long-term short on in VXX, maybe after the election, that it will eventually work out for you. I did put up a poll in Twitter and asking, I try to stay away from politics. I'm not successful always, but the poll I put up was asking, will volatility come in more if Trump is reelected or if Biden is elected? And the answer from the poll, more people thought that volatility would come in more if Trump was reelected than if Biden was elected. So I'll show you the poll right here. The poll I put up was asking, will volatility come in more if so here's that poll. And then this other, what was this other poll I had? I can't even remember. Oh, it was asking how long do you think it will be till we are trading futures 24 hours, or how long will it be till we're trading options on the SPX 24 hours a day? And most of you said 2 to 5 years. It's pretty impressive. I got 100 votes on that total. I guess our presence on Twitter is growing a little bit. It certainly is addictive when you get a bunch of likes on something. I did this poll for I'm sorry, on the weekend I tweeted about how weekend Wall Street was 54% bearish. This is the contrary indicator. We could gap up Monday. And I got 27 likes. It's like I can feel that rush. I understand what these like social influencers feel when you get like 1,000 retweets or something. There is a certain rush to getting numbers on Twitter, although it is a little bit silly at the same time, of course. So what did I do over the weekend and what were my positions? Let me just go over that really quickly. Positions were, I have a very small UVXY position where I'm short like 5 deltas or something. So it's almost nothing. I was messing around. Just basically when the market settled down, I was buying a couple calls. And then when it popped, when volatility popped a little bit, I would sell a higher strike against those calls to leg into free spreads. And so I put some free spreads on. You can see the P&L is negative here for the day, but that's from Friday, but that will come back in. That's just marks. But yeah, short 10 deltas and it shows collecting 44 a day. But I think that this collecting 44 is just due to the marks once again. I think there's basically no position. But my position that I do have is Tesla. I am short in Tesla, some out of the money call spreads. The bulk of the position is basically short the July. It expires in 10 days. The July 11.60 12.20 call spread, right? So that's a $60 spread. I'm short it twice. So if Tesla were to close above 12.20 on expiration and I didn't do anything before then, it would wipe out my entire account. So I'm a little bit concerned about the spread. I did have a put spread on below the strike. Right now it's just hanging around 1,000, but I was kind of stressed over the weekend, like, oh, am I going to wake up and Tesla's going to have doubled? Because you never know with Tesla. It's kind of a monster. But nope, Tesla's kind of staying where it was, and so that position should work out. Basically, the gist of the position is I'm basically collecting $75 a day, being short out of the money call spread. So I did have it with being short the put spreads too, but I am concerned to the downside with Tesla. I don't think it would take much for Tesla to roll through 900, but probably won't keep that position on because it kind of stresses me out. Anyway, so from my point of view, I think that this VIX might have another pop to 45 or 50 in it, and I'm kind of on the sidelines looking for that opportunity. If we do get a nice pop to 45 or 50, then I will short volatility. But right now I'm just kind of on the sidelines. In general, I did put the small Tesla position on just to collect some income while I'm waiting, but I'm kind of waiting for a better opportunity in the short VIX trade currently. I want to thank all the Patreon supporters and also member supporters for supporting the channel. It's much appreciated. Let's see what we've got in the chat. Was the VIX ever below 20? That's a good question, Dazbov. I'm not sure. I can't really remember either. It seems like a long time ago it was below 20, huh? Yeah, and it seems amazing that, we were here to witness a couple years ago the lowest VIX ever, which I believe was 8.59, lowest VIX ever. And we certainly are a lot higher than we were then. I remember when they would say, oh, the average VIX was 20, and that really just sounded really high. TVIX being delisted. Yeah, let's talk about that. So here's the article here. Credit Suisse announces its intent to delist and suspend further issuance of its Velocity shares, ETNs. Yeah, 8. Well, that is a good question. I would suspect it has something to do with their clearing firm, or that they're losing money. But nice catch there, Edward. Credit Suisse announces its intent to delist and suspend further issuances of its Velocity Shares ETN. So it's not just TVIX, it's all of these ETNs. So they must be losing money, I guess. So all of these ETNs are affected. Gold, silver, UGAZ, DGAZ, ZIV, TVIX, VXX. Yeah, that's big news, and we'll have to find more information on this moving forward. The reasoning behind this, because this is certainly big news. Let's see. The ETNs will, following their delisting, the ETNs will remain outstanding, though they will no longer trade on any national securities exchange. Yeah, so that's big news. And we will look to find more information out on that moving forward. Thank you for that update, Edward. Much appreciated. And nice to see you in the chat, Edward. Big news. All right, so there you go. As we enter the day for the market, yes. So as Edward just pointed out, Credit Suisse announces its intent to delist and suspend TVIX, UGLD, USLV, UGAZ is gone, DGAZ gone, ZIV gone, TVIX gone. This means that, Marcella, that means that these are going to end. So eventually we want to get out of any positions you have in them. 2 shots. Want to see the expected move hit 1 standard deviation either side of the curve here. So what you're saying is that if we go 1 standard deviation away, stuff can keep moving in that direction. That's certainly possible. Yeah, this is big news here, folks. TVIX, ZIV, DGAZ, UGAZ. I mean, I used to trade DGAZ and UGAZ too. All of these being delisted. Marcella, it's not that you need to get out this minute. It's going to there'll be time to get out of it. They're just saying that you're not going to be able to use it moving forward, essentially. So I wouldn't be concerned about. They're going to stop issuing new shares, so it's going to eventually not trade anymore, is what it means. But it's not like it's just going to end today and you're going to lose money right away. It'll be a slow process. So I wouldn't worry about it this minute. But it does mean that these products are eventually going to be gone. And we'll have to find out from the company why that is. But huge news here. And actually, I'm just going to change the name of this video. TVIX delisted. UGAZ. DGAZ. That's a shame because some of these products, especially like ZIV is the one that I really think is cool to be gone. To be delisted. Gone. There we go. Gone. All right. So that's enough of that. Yeah, so that's where we are. No direction, neutral at 1 standard deviation on either side. Yeah, I just think this stuff is moving around like crazy, and I think 1 standard deviation is a turning point, but there's also other points on the chart that are significant. I know, but this is craziness. The market has just looked very strange lately. Once again, gold now up 17 today with the market still up. It just feels very shaky, very shaky. Yeah, so UVXY still here, but yeah, Credit Suisse announcing they are getting rid of TVIX, UGAZ, DGAZ, ZIV. We will find more information on that to follow for you folks. I will research that and get back to you. In the meantime, be careful out there, folks. Once again, I'm flat volatility here. I'm slightly short Tesla, but be careful out there, folks. It feels like we could get another pop in volatility moving forward. So I'm not personally shorting volatility right now. All right, so I'm going to research more about these delistings, and I'll get back to you on what I find. Thanks for watching as we move into the trading day. I'm going to let you go so that you can start trading them up, and check back for more information here on the channel as we get it. I will provide it to you on these delistings. Thanks, Edward.